Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here with another 6x6 paper pad tutorial. This time I'll be working with the Authentique 6x6 Splendor bundle. It has 24 papers and 4 of each paper, which means there's only 6 designs. Now it is double-sided, so technically 12 because there's one on each side, but you can only use one side at a time. And also just kind of trying to point out that if you like lots and lots of different paper options and patterns and traces, this collection and Authentique, in a sense, may not be for you just because their style is to have less designs, but more of each sheet. So it depends. Do you like to, create one design and be able to have 4 cards as a result, or do you prefer more designs? I am kind of either way. So I was fine with that, but it is a little bit more challenging for sure, in the sense of you don't have a lot of papers to pick from as you're working through and trying to pair things up. But then it also allows you to finish a paper pad quicker, in a sense, because you are able to create one design and then 4 cards from that one design. In this instance, I went to my collection of dies and I picked out 4 sentiment dies. 3 of them are from the Whimsy Stamps Quick Strips die collection, which I have used many times and will use many times in the future. In fact, I have a little magnetic flower from Twiddler's Nook on my craft desk that I have put those dies on, they are attached, because it's magnetic. They're attached to it and they just kind of sit out on my desk because I go to them so often. So I'll try to remember to link that too. But it's a really nice option to have, and it's created by a crafter. So when you make that purchase, you're supporting an individual crafter, a family, and all the feels there for sure. So, and also I'm just a big fan of Amanda. What's her name? So anyway, I'll link that, but I use those dies so often, and I just cut them out of craft cardstock. I decided to pair this collection with craft cardstock and cream cardstock. I chose to do cream for all of the card bases and then craft for all of my matting. I buy most of my cardstock at Michael's. I know that there is, and I've experienced many high quality cardstocks on the market, but they tend to be expensive per sheet. And I like to create a lot of cards. I like to work with pattern paper, which creates more cards than elaborate stamping. And I do that too. I do plenty of elaborate stamping and other techniques, and I don't always share them on my channel. I tend to share more of them on Instagram. So if you like to see more individual special cards as well as these paper pad cards, go check out my Instagram at jess.crafts. It'll be there. The link is actually always in the video description. But anyway, because I like to buy them in bulk and I like to be able to get big packs of cardstock, it can be somewhat limiting to what colors I use. However, the big ones are out there: the black, the white, the cream, the craft, all those. And so that's what I'm going to kind of tend to lean towards. With this particular paper pad video, I decided to challenge myself by using sketches. I often get asked about sketches, what sketches I am using, and generally the answer is I'm not using sketches. I find sketches to be challenging personally, and I know that's not always a bad thing, but it tends to kind of stop my flow and makes it harder for me to use paper pads. I know it's not true for everyone, but as a sort of compromise, what I did is I would design my cards in sort of my normal way, and then I took some of them and converted them into sketches so that people who like sketches could have those as a resource to save. So in the video description, there will be a coordinating blog post, as there always is. That coordinating blog post will, in this instance, have a still picture of the card, and it will have what sketch I use. And these are all MFT, or My Favorite Things sketches. You can go to the MFT website and download their sketches as a large PDF, which I do have, and I do have in my sketch binder, which I've showed a few times. Today I'm not using my binder just because it's a little harder to show on camera. There's always a lot of glare. And so I printed them off individually, and that way you can kind of see them as I'm working with them. In other instances though, and if you're over on my blog, you can go to, there's a card sketches page on my blog where you can get PDFs of the sketches that I've made based off of my use of 6x6 pads. And there's One Sheet Wonder templates that include sketches. So it shows you how you take a 6x6 piece of paper and you cut it up such that there's no scraps left and you make 2 cards. And then it shows you how you would assemble that. So if you're a card sketch person, you'll probably like this video. You'll be able to get the sketches on my coordinating blog post, but those are also some other resources over on my blog. With the MFT sketches, I went through and I really tried to pick out ones that I thought went well with the paper pad, with my way of crafting, what I know I'm used to. I know I have strips of paper left, so this particular sketch makes use of strips of paper, like thinner, smaller strips. I knew that I was going to have these cut aparts, so I looked for smallish focal points on the card. Sometimes, like in this case, this one was like a must-have for me, and I would suggest particularly this one as one you might want to save to kind of revisit, as it is really, really good for 6x6 paper pads. But sometimes, this one had the small rectangle, but sometimes I chose ones that instead had a circle. And I was just going to substitute the rectangle in. And I think most people, that's kind of what a lot of people do, and it makes sense to them. However, I know some people also kind of can get a little bit tangled up in the idea that you're supposed to follow the sketch exactly, and now I need to go take this paper to the paper cutter or to my die collection and find a circle die. And you can totally do that. It looks great and it adds an extra level of detail. But also, if you don't have the time to do that, if your crafting time is limited, or if for whatever reason you don't want to, also, here I'm going to sub in a rectangle for that circle. I definitely prefer 6x6 paper pads that have 2 sides because, for instance, on this sketch, I have this 2-inch strip that is left from cutting all my cards are A2 size. And when you cut a piece of paper to have a matte border on an A2, you cut it to 4 by 5 1/4, and you always get this 2-inch strip left with 6x6 paper pads. This sketch is like the bomb for dealing with those 2-inch strips, because you take your 2-inch strip and you cut a 1/2 inch off of it, and then you flip it over to the other side if it's double-sided, which I always love and recommend. And now you have both of those strips that go on the bottom of the card. You put one of your cut aparts on, you throw a sentiment with it, you're done. So again, and this is, I really tried to be thoughtful about which sketches I picked from MFT so that I would find it as easy as possible to follow sketches. But I just wanted to kind of highlight the few that, having worked with them, I actually thought really, really were great. So this next one, it calls for kind of thinner strips, and they go all the way across the page. Well, this is where I run into trouble with card sketches, because I'm like, the strips, the scraps that I have, they aren't super thin, and they certainly aren't long enough to go all the way across the page, but I do want to use up my scraps. I really, really want to always focus on my scraps. So I just decided I would make them a sort of graduated line of strips, such that my biggest one was on the bottom and I went to my smaller one, and then I switched the side the circle was on. I was pretty flexible with it. I decided not to stamp any sentiments on my sentiment strips. Couple of reasons. I knew some of them I would not use for sentiment strips. So for this particular card that I'm designing, it has the sentiment strip, the banner there on top of the element. It doesn't really work for me because it'll be covering up this cute little scene that I'm using as my focal point. So instead, I'm going to put the banner behind. If I had already pre-stamped a sentiment on it, that would be awkward. I'd need to go cut another one. Also, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know what I was going to do with these cards when I made them. And I bought this paper pad when I was in a very fall mood, and I thought it was so beautiful. Then I got it and I started working with it, and I realized this is not my style. This is not my favorite kind of paper pad. And I used it anyway, and I think the cards are pretty, and I didn't like hate it. But I think that happens to us sometimes where we're like in a store or when we see someone else use it. That's like always the one for me. Like I see someone else use it and I'm like, oh, they created such beautiful cards with it. And I have to say, no. Like they did and they're beautiful and et cetera, but I'm not going to love it as much. So I'm gonna leave it at the store and pick out something else and just enjoy that person's beautiful creations for what they are. But if you wind up with a paper pad that you don't love, there's a couple things. Sure, you can use it up. You can, follow sketches like I am, which made it easier. You can go find my one sheet wonder templates and just chop them up real quick and make those sort of like no-brainer designs because it tells you exactly how to glue everything, whatever, and pair it with a couple stamps you like, etc. Or find someone and give it away. Find an organization, give it away. People, they accept craft supplies and make better use of them, or maybe you can swap with a friend who actually really loves it and wanted that paper pad or stamp set or whatever, stencil, substitute anything in there. But I don't know. I just think sometimes it's nice to like hear other people go like, you're not crazy. I totally do that too. Because yeah, I mean, I'm a crafter just like you. And I don't know. Anyway, if that's helpful. This card, like as I got farther along in this paper pad, not only the fact that I wasn't a huge fan of this paper, it got more challenging and I got more like, do I even like what I created? Because here I have this large sunflower on the left, and then I'm also adding in the sort of focal point of the turkey on the right, and it feels a little unbalanced to me. But it's also kind of what the sketch called for, in the sense that it called for that pattern paper to be there on the left. At least I think that's what the gray means. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I wasn't following design rules because my card's a little unbalanced. Well, I guess you guys can help me be the judge of that. In the end, I think all the cards will be appreciated. It'll be nice to have some like fall and Thanksgiving cards to just sort of send out encouraging messages to people. I do think that this paper pad isn't ideal for one of the reasons I think that I didn't love the paper pad is because I'm like, I usually make my cards for kids, and this does not feel like a for kids paper. It's much more like adult or somber or whatever. I don't know what the right word for it is, but like it doesn't strike me as for young kids. So I donate to other organizations as well. I will find a home for these, no worries. But yeah, I think that was also a part of it for me. A couple of the cut aparts had words, and as is always or almost always true, sometimes they're a little more for scrapbookers because it's also a 12 by 12 collection, scaled down. So fall breeze and autumn leaves, you could use that as a sentiment. I considered it. Pick of the patch. I could add the you are, or you are the pick of the patch, something like that. Like, I think it could work. But yeah, none of these three really feel like sentiments. Even that turkey, it just says Thanksgiving Day. It doesn't say like Happy Thanksgiving. And I used it anyway, and I think that's fine. But yeah, so what I'm going to do, this one doesn't have a sketch. This is me using the scraps. This is very, very, very much a scrap card, which I love and I try to include in videos as often as possible. Now, even though it's a scrap card, there will be 4 of it because I have all of these left over, but none of the sketches that I picked out still worked. So I had to come up with my own design to try to use as much as possible of what is left. That was these 3 cut aparts, and I had 2 pieces of these 2 by 6 inch strips. So I cut them down to 5 1/4, and then I cut them all to 1/2 inch. In the spirit of continuing to be honest with you, I love my paper trimmer, but if you have a 1 inch strip, it can't cut 1/2 inch off of it. And that's a problem very, very occasionally. So here I'm just taking a 1/2 inch strip and I'm cutting it with my scissors, which is kind of a bummer that the paper trimmer can't do that, but it's good for many, many other things, and it's really reasonably priced, and I don't have to replace the blades on it constantly or have fuzzy papers left over, which I used to get with my Fiskars trimmer. And I love Fiskars, and I think their trimmer is great for cutting small things, and they make high quality products, but also you need to replace the blades, and I was getting tired of that. So my Swingline does pretty much everything I need it to do, and then every once in a while it doesn't. So this is the last card. I cut the 1/2 inch strips, which left me with, because there was 2 pieces of paper, by cutting it to 1/2 inch, I was able to make enough. So that's my no sketch card. And then here I'm going to show you each sketch alongside the card that I created with it. You go to my blog, all that's there so that you can see it, more slowly, and also get links to the sketches and get measurements for what I ultimately did, like what size pieces of paper I used for everything. With that in mind, I will add some of these scraps to the inside of my cards, as I always do, to use them up, because that's really all I have left and there's no way I'm saving that. You could also just toss it, but I think that why not just put them inside the card? It creates like a little surprise pop of color inside. And then that'll be it for my card video today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe. I would love for you to leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorite card is, what you thought of this video, what you want to see next, anything. I just love talking to you guys. I'll leave you links to the products that I used and to my blog and all the other information that I mentioned in the video. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me today. I really appreciate it, and have an awesome, awesome day. Bye.